Hello, my juicy peaches. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Priestess Peaches, aka Jackie Lane from yourpeachylife.com. I empower ambitious women in long-term relationships to operate in their empowered feminine energy so that they can have the love, pleasure, sex, and money that they have always wanted. And I want to speak about something that women do all the time within their relationship and within their business. And this can happen at any level. I've worked with women who receive six figures and this still happens. Like, no shame at all. It's just something that comes up for a lot of women. And that is being in this space of convincing. So I couldn't remember the word then. Oh, I'm just in one of those moods today. So when a woman is in this space of convincing, so this comes up in your relationship with your man by when you're trying to convince him that you're right, or convince him to do something, or convince him of something. And this comes up in your business where you go into this convincing space, trying to convince a client to work with you. And it's the same in your marketing. It's like trying to convince people that you're good enough, that you're you're just in this convincing energy, okay? And the energy of convincing is actually a forward moving energy. I don't know why I did that. It's a forward moving energy. So that means it is masculine energy, okay? Because you're leaning forward, you're trying to convince someone, you're trying to get them on board, you're trying to make them understand, it's actually very controlling. It's actually very controlling, and it can even be manipulative, okay? So basically what you need to do, because you're not going to have the results that you really want when you're in that energy. Often, by the way, my throat's really dry because I've been filming loads of videos, so just excuse that situation. But often what can happen with your man is that he will distance himself from you. He might explode, not in a good way. So when you're convincing, he may just do the thing out of obligation. So when he avoids you and distances himself, that's like wounded feminine. When he does the thing out of obligation, that's also him in his wounded feminine. When he is like attacking or exploding or angry, that's him coming into his wounded masculine. And so what happens is you're basically pushing him away. Any of those things is pushing him away. And with your, with your potential clients, it was that sip of water at the beginning. With your potential clients, what can happen is that they feel backed in a corner. I had this so many times. I used to have this pattern of investing with wounded masculine coaches. And on the sales call, they'll be like overcoming my objections. They'll be like trying to convince me to work with them. And I would often feel like backed in a corner, like basically like they had an answer to everything. And so it would feel like I had no choice but to say yes. And that's really not good. Hold on, I'm going to pause this and drink some more. Yeah, and it's not good because you're actually like, if a client signs up when you've convinced them to, they're signing up from a space of disempowered, like a disempowered space. And it's not like the genuine truth. You don't need to do that. With both these situations, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is learn how to lean back. And there's specific processes that you will need to go on internally in order to successfully lean back. So to lean back in a space of trust, in a space of self-validation, in a space of having your boundaries on the inside and not having them on the outside like a wall or like prickly. It's when you're in your empowered feminine energy, you're not in the space of dictating, convincing, justifying, explaining. You're also not in the space of demanding, being entitled. You're in a very different energy where it's much more, it's surrendered. You're in a space of non-attachment. you're in a space of like trust, and you're focused on what you're available for, okay? And what happens is when you're leaning back, you are inspiring their forward moving energy. The more that you leaning back isn't passive. All these things that I've just shared are part of leaning back, as well as some other stuff. It's a process. It's a practice. Once you start kind of mastering it, it becomes easier and easier, and it will become your default way of operating. But initially it can feel kind of clunky, funky, uncomfortable, strange, like you may not be kind of doing it right initially, and you may not see the evidence or the results immediately. Sometimes it takes a while for other people to shift, like as you're shifting. But you'll find that once it clicks, and it will, that you don't need to be in that energy anymore. And it's like, you don't need to be in that energy. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to make anyone understand. You don't need to push and force. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify anything. You get to lean back, my lovely. You get to lean back and have what you want come to you. You get to lean back and witness your man shift into his king and god vibes, like archetypes, okay? You get to witness your clients stepping up and like coming to you in their empowered energy, and where they're receptive. Like, this is the thing. When this happens, you'll be able to, like, you will feel received, you will feel seen, you will feel heard, you will feel understood. And you haven't had to explain or convince or justify a damn thing. But you will feel seen, you will feel heard, and you will feel understood. And you will be seen and be heard and be understood. And the key to it is so counterintuitive, because you think, well, they're not going to understand unless I explain it to them. Well, they're not going to do as I say unless I convince them. And it's so counterintuitive to actually lean back instead. And like I said, the energy that you would have used to lean forward, you will be using to lean back. And it's like, initially it's kind of the same amount of energy, like it takes practice, but then eventually, because it becomes your default, you don't need to use loads of energy to lean back anymore. It just becomes very natural. And you'll find that because it is our natural way of being as a woman, like your feminine energy is so natural to you, once you come back home to it, it will be like, you'll be able to relax into it. You'll be able to, I call it like being in a space of relaxed arousal. And this is also what happens sexually as well. When you start to implement and embody your feminine energy in the bedroom sexually, you will start to be able to relax more, and you'll be able to receive more. You'll be able to receive your man, you'll be able to receive money, clients, customers, sales. You'll be able to receive bliss, pleasure, epic orgasms, connection. It is just like, it's so good. It's so good. So I just wanted to share this with you. I hope this makes sense. Let me know in the comments if anything comes up for you, if you've got any questions or anything you want me to do a video on. Feel free to drop it in the comments, because then I'll know what, like, I'll be able to do some videos for you. So yeah, let me know. And if you haven't already become one of my goddess subs, then please do head on over to my website and subscribe to my website platform. You'll be invited to create your own sacred password to my platform, and then you'll have free access to my 7 guided yoni breathing practices, and you'll be able to see all my offerings there. And you will also be on my email list, where I email my goddess subs or the juicy free content that I have, where I can be uncensored and authentic with you. And I also have offerings that are only for goddess subs, not for social media. So if you want in on those special offerings, because I will be starting to offer them very soon, then you need to be a goddess sub. So please feel free to sign up to my website platform and I'll see you over there. All right, my lovelies, have an amazing day and remember to keep it juicy. Mwah. Bye.